Hello? Where is your husband right now?
My husband? He's supposed to be at work today.
Today is the school observation day. Your husband is here. I'm 100% sure that is your husband.
What do you mean? I don't understand either.
It was Saturday morning. He went to work, but an hour later, my friend who is a teacher called suddenly. We don't have children, yet my husband is participating in the school observation. What does this mean? Despite feeling shaken, I hurried to the school. I'm a 36-year-old stay-at-home wife. I got married to my husband 3 years ago, and we still have a good relationship. We got married after turning 30, initially wanting children and striving to conceive.
Look, I thought I missed my period, but I'm pregnant.
Really? Finally, you're pregnant.
I'll go to the hospital tomorrow to confirm, but finally. I'm glad I didn't give up.
Since it was pregnancy efforts after turning 30, you said maybe you wouldn't get pregnant.
Indeed, when we got married, we were already over 30, and we talked about how getting pregnant might be difficult. So, just being pregnant made me really happy. I knew there were various risks, more than a young woman getting pregnant. I'm around the 10th week of pregnancy.
No way, a miscarriage.
No matter what happened, I intended to raise it. But I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Calm down. It's not your fault. Don't blame yourself.
But this child had the right to be born. Because I'm getting older.
It's okay, it's okay. Let's try again. Okay?
He comforted me, but I couldn't help blaming myself. Indeed, I didn't engage in direct actions leading to miscarriage like intense exercise or taking medication during pregnancy. On the contrary, I did everything I could to ensure a healthy baby. But even though I was told it wasn't my fault, I couldn't help my feelings. If I hadn't tried to have a child, this child might have been born to a different mother. Then, the child might have had a happier life. Since experiencing the miscarriage, I constantly thought about the baby who was supposed to be born, and I lost around 22 pounds in 2 months. I lacked motivation for everything, neglected household chores and meals, and gradually distanced myself from my husband. He cared for me initially, but I think I wanted to distance myself from the pregnancy for a while. We had talked about wanting children from the beginning of our marriage. So considering my age, he probably wanted to retry as soon as possible. In such a mental state, I couldn't possibly try again, and as I thought about the difficulty of getting pregnant as I grew older, maybe his affection for me started to wane. Despite knowing that, I couldn't recover from the shock of the miscarriage for a while. And so, one day, after half a year had passed, on that day, after seeing him off, while trying to distract myself with household chores, the doorbell rang. I didn't remember ordering anything online, so I wondered who it might be. Opening the door, there stood my high school best friend. "What are you doing? You've really lost a lot of weight. Because you didn't reply to my messages. I was worried about you. I'm sorry, but I'm having a hard time recovering." "I know. May I come in? Is your husband here by any chance?" "No, it's a weekday today, so he's at work." "How about you? Nothing special." "Even though today is a holiday, he has work." "I see, a holiday. I didn't even notice." "Well, let me in for a bit, anyway. She has been my friend for about 15 years and was the first person I talked to when I had a miscarriage. Even though she was busy, she called me during lunch breaks, being one of my emotional supports. However, my mental condition had worsened recently, and I had completely withdrawn into my shell, which led to not even returning her calls. Talking to someone after such a long time made me realize how sorry I am. I have felt guilty a bit, but she brought the strawberry cake I liked from high school, and is my supportive friend. I felt tears welling up. I'm sorry for worrying you. But I don't know what to do. It's certainly tough. But there's no need to force yourself to recover. To recover? The more you think about it, the more burden you place on yourself. But your husband? My husband. Her words were so right, and I couldn't reply. Of course. I'm not blaming him, but he was there for me only at first. After that, although I hadn't fully recovered, he brought up the next child, not supporting me emotionally, but desperate to fulfill his own wishes. That's how it felt. Hence, our relationship as a couple gradually deteriorated. Initially, because we were a couple, I wanted him to support me more in this state, having been through mental turmoil. But recently, because we are a couple, I started feeling like I shouldn't cause any more trouble for him. Hearing from my friend's words that there's no need to force myself relieved me a lot. I could understand his feelings, but it would be nice if he paid a little more attention to you. Maybe I've become a burden on him. Lately, he's been going out more on holidays. Really? Because I've been a housewife. I don't think it's okay to ask him for help with housework on weekends. But I've been thinking more and more that I just want to rest for a day without doing anything. If your husband wants kids, he should at least be more supportive for you. I used to think it was all my fault, but thinking calmly, our relationship deteriorated, and his love for me faded, so it isn't just me. He's supposed to be closest to you. What the hell is he thinking? Thank you. Just hearing you say is incredibly reassuring. He's an attractive and tall guy, but his heart is completely different from his appearance. But having you here has really made me feel better. Thank you so much. Thanks to her visit, I was able to release pent-up emotions, and I felt considerably lighter. It may take a while to recover, but I'll focus on my mental health first. Despite my husband's cold attitude, I kept on living one day. I have to go to work today. But it's Saturday? Well, it's a busy season now. I see. Got it. Well, good luck with your work. His company is quite employee-friendly. It's rare for him to work on weekends. But since he's been working there for a long time and has a lot of responsibilities, this seems normal. Besides, he rarely stays at home the whole day even on his days off, so it's not something I worry about. As usual, after finishing household chores, I decided to take a walk for a change of pace. Breathing fresh air outside after a long time refreshed my mood. Since the day my friend visited, I've been feeling a bit more optimistic and ready to move forward. While strolling, I returned home after an hour. I was a bit tired from walking after a long time, so I laid down on the sofa with my phone for a while. I noticed more than 30 missed calls. I didn't take my phone while walking, so I hadn't noticed the calls. All the missed calls were from my friend. Maybe she came while I was out for a walk? But why so many calls? I thought as I decided to call her back. But why so many calls? Hello? What's going on? Hey, where is your husband right now? He's at work. Apparently, it's a busy period. It can't be, because during today's school observation, he's there with a woman. My husband attending a school observation? That's not possible. We don't have kids, and I've never heard of any relatives having children. I think he's more eager for kids than I am because he wants to show our parents a grandchild soon. There might be a slim chance he went to attend an acquaintance's child's school observation, but then why would he lie about going to work? He no longer showed any kindness for me, and I don't understand why he would lie just to attend a school observation. My friend happens to be a teacher, so maybe he just ran into her. But then, what my friend told me made my spine freeze. The woman he's with is actually a single mother. They seem to get along very well, and I don't know what the relationship of them, but isn't it suspicious? I've only met him at the wedding, And he probably doesn't even remember me. Probably. Got it. I'll head to the school for now. To be honest, I wasn't prepared and didn't even understand the whole situation. But I couldn't just leave it like that. I asked my friend for the time when the observation ends and decided to go to the school. According to her, the observation lasts only 1 hour in the morning, and after that, the parents are supposed to leave first. If I go without thinking about the child, I should be able to do it without hesitation. Thinking this, I quickly got ready and headed to the school gate. As an outsider, I couldn't enter the school, so I waited outside for the two to come out. After about 10 minutes, my husband indeed came out holding hands with an unfamiliar woman. Even though they were visiting school, they were flirting in front of other parents. What is he thinking? When I thought about it, I got so upset, but I immediately approached the two. Hey, weren't you off to work today? You, why? That was my line. Also, you holding hands with my husband, what are you doing? Are you his wife? Both reacted with a surprised expression, but after a few seconds, they seemed to understand everything and had a calm demeanor. Judging from his mistress's expression, I think she knew my husband was married and acted knowingly. It's really sly. I could have demanded answers from both of them, but it was obvious that it would be a scene. I didn't know how it might affect her child in school, so I decided to discuss it at a nearby cafe. I'll be direct. Did she know you were married?
That's fine.
Sooner or later, I'll have to talk to your wife about the essential stuff.
I want you to divorce me. I will marry her.
I just heard about an affair, and he's spouting nonsensical replies. I don't care about whom he's remarrying. He irritates me by brazenly saying he wants to divorce me and marry his affair partner. I thought about punching that carefree face. But after taking a deep breath, I started talking. No remorse? No apology? That is my line. I didn't want to blame you, but I wanted a child.
It's wrong to date a married man, but it's somewhat inevitable, isn't it? He loves my child.
Is it your child?
Not biologically. After your miscarriage, I met her and I started wanting to be a father to her child.
Disgusting. It's not even his child, yet he's willing to discard me to remarry. I can't understand what he's thinking. If he'd been cheating for years or the child was from a former relationship, I could understand him wanting to remarry her and do the fatherly thing. But his actions now are entirely selfish. Living with such a person, I must have had a terrible judgment. But I no longer felt any anger. Then I'll make you pay compensation.
Huh? Compensation? This divorce is your fault.
I have to take care of my child too. Can't you stop saying such crazy things?
But you're the one who cheated, right?
But the reason for the affair is your miscarriage. You're still grieving for so long.
So what? If you want to marry someone else, it makes sense to divorce me first, right? You don't understand even that simple thing? It's not like you're a little kid, but if I don't explain it, you won't understand. I understand that my miscarriage and the possibility of not having children in the future could be grounds for a divorce. For someone who wants children, being in a marriage with someone who might not be able to have children is a harsh reality. But that doesn't excuse cheating. Marriage is not something taken so lightly. It's puzzling how an adult doesn't understand such things. Don't take marriage so lightly. Even so, please don't ask for compensation. I don't have much money, you know. You've ruined someone's family and don't want to take any responsibility. It's the same for you to pay compensation. Good grief. You really understand nothing. Both parties, the husband and his affair partner, have an obligation to pay compensation. Can you properly take care of your child? Enough of this. When they can't refute, is this how they spit out abusive language? Their intelligence seems to be that low. It's pointless dealing with someone whose level is lower. As we talked, I gradually started feeling that way. But I won't let them escape from their responsibilities so easily. Both of them must pay me compensation. If they say they can't, I'll contact the company, and they won't get away with it. Dealing with people of such a low level isn't easy, but I won't allow them to escape responsibility. Anyway, I won't let you get away without making amends. Wait a moment. I'll give you all the property, but please, spare me the compensation. I'll have to move, and there'll be expenses. Since you haven't put much into our living, I haven't been able to save. There's no money for property distribution. But stop making excuses. If you don't, I'll get angry too. If you don't agree to pay the compensation, I'll take legal action. I plan to use a lawyer for a trial, and if you don't want it to be messy, settle it amiably. As I said that, both of them looked at each other and were scared. Well, for ordinary people, even mentioning lawyers or a trial could be shocking. But I am serious, and fortunately, I have an acquaintance who's a lawyer, so anything is possible. It's too late for them to regret now. I left a $10 bill on the table and left the cafe. After that, they were talking, looking troubled. It probably wasn't what they had planned. But considering they were bad people coming together for an affair, not thinking about the future might be normal. Then, with the help of a lawyer, I claimed compensation. And soon after that, my husband reached out.
Okay. Are you really going to demand compensation? And what's with this amount? There's no way I can pay such a high sum. Then, why don't you hire a lawyer and go to court? But I'm going to need money for the future. I can't afford the cost of a lawyer.
Then I'll have to ask you to pay the full amount. If you genuinely think the sum is unfair, it'd be more sensible to pay and ask the lawyer to reduce it. If you can't do that, it's because you know this is a fair amount, right? For the time being, we were husband and wife, so I believe I understand my husband to a certain extent. After that conversation, he must have researched the standard amount for compensation in case of infidelity. The amount demanded from both of them is by no means exorbitant, and he should understand that. He might have hoped to plead and have it reduced. I might have entertained such a faint hope. But why do they think they'll benefit from this situation? I am the one who's been betrayed here. They should stop underestimating me. If you can't pay, I'll contact your company and, if necessary, file a lawsuit myself. If you don't want it to become such a big deal, pay up quickly.
Please, help me. If I have to pay compensation, she will leave me.
If it costs money to be married to me, she says it's better not to marry me. Please. We were once married, after all. In the end, that's the extent of love she feels for you, isn't it? When I said that, he fell silent. To remarry after betraying me, to become the father of another's child. They were talking about such things, but ultimately, it was just a simple act of infidelity. So, since there was no compensation payment from my ex-husband and the affair partner for a while, I contacted my lawyer again and requested payment from both. They must have given up for it. The amount was then transferred to my account. From that point on, although I was alone, I was able to live happily without any problems. The divorce was finalized after the compensation was paid, and I felt a lightness in my heart. Looking back, perhaps the mere existence of my ex-husband was hindering my mental recovery. That's what I think. By the way, I heard about what happened afterward between my ex-husband and the affair partner from my best friend. She had a close friend among the moms at their child's class, and apparently, she heard something from her friend. It seems that they separated after a significant dispute over compensation, showing the actual depth of their affection. Looking back now, it's almost laughable to think that such a commitment would be made to become a child's father. I'm glad I didn't create a child with someone like that, but I haven't given up on the possibility of pregnancy. I still want to remarry and have my children. But this time, I hope to choose someone who will support me, someone who won't be selfish like my ex-husband but will be there for us as a couple, no matter what.